What's up, guys? Sean Rochester here for 5 Reasons Sports, bringing you my 5 keys, Game 14, Heat at Bulls, November 20th. Second time we played them in 3 nights, trying to overcome a kind of tragic loss on Saturday night. Before I talk about the keys, check out the link in the description to get yourself $10 off a $100 purchase from the finish line. Lots of holidays coming up, Black Friday coming up. Use that link, get yourself $10 off a $100 purchase from finish line. 5 keys. My first one is really a broken record at this point. I continue to harp on this, is the shot diet or the balance of our offense. We're looking, in my opinion, 30% from the rim, 35% from mid-range, 35% from behind the arc. If it gets too heavy in the mid-range, too heavy in the three-point shots, I think bad things are happening. And so far this season, the trends show that. If we get above 35% of our attempts from behind the arc, we're 3-5. When we're below that number, 5-0. When we get above 35% in the mid-range, 2-5. When we're below that number, 6-0. Rim pressure is different because if you can get a ton of shots at the rim, those are high percentage shots. You're not going to complain about that. When we are below 25% at the rim, 0-4. When we're above that, 8-1. Now, rim pressure and rim attempts don't necessarily equate each other because you might get to the rim, draw defense, and spray it out to shooters. Those are good shots. So even if you don't get shots at the rim, as long as you're putting pressure on the rim, I think good things happen too. We're just a very average team on offense. That's kind of being kind about everything because 14th to 17th, right in the middle of the pack in every zone in terms of our accuracy. We just don't shoot the ball very well. So when we lean too heavy in one area, I think bad things are happening. Maybe it's going to be reinforcements, trades, adjustments. I don't know what it is, but right now, balance, I think, is the key to having good offense, whether it's tonight or any of these upcoming games. Second key, turnovers. On Saturday night, started off very well, up 22-1. Turnovers started creeping in. They got sloppy. They got careless. Maybe they kind of took their foot off the pedal. But a 16% turnover rate for the Heat is not good. Our offense is not good enough to carry us through that. Regardless of who we have at point guard, regardless of who we're missing, we just can't turn the ball over like that if we expect to win. Taking care of the ball, the Heat are 4-0 when their turnover rate is below 10%. It's not easy to do. 10% turnover rate is very, very elite. But I think if you split the difference, their average this season is around 14%. Keep it in between 10 and 14, I think they're fine. Higher than that, up in the 15s, up to 20, I just think that the offense is not good enough to kind of clear the path and have success with that. My third key, I used a quote from our guy, Tony Fiorentino. Coach Fiorentino always says, water will find its level. The Bulls' three-point shooting on Saturday night was crazy. They are one of the worst three-point shooting teams. They leaned heavily into the threes. They made 16 threes. They shot nearly, 52% of their attempts came from behind the arc. That's not normally what they do. For this season, they're 23rd in the league. Around 33% of their attempts come from behind the arc. So they really leaned into the threes, and they actually made them. Now, they didn't even make them at a great clip. They just shot so many that with our turnovers, with our poor offense, it was able to get them just to barely eke out a win in a comeback fashion. I think the Heat will still play zone. I just still trust that against a team that's not a good shooting team. You can look back at Saturday. Maybe that's a one-game sample that they just got lucky. I would lean into season-long data. This team is not a great shooting team. Play zone. Let them shoot from outside, contested shots, and then go get rebounds and go the other way. Fourth key, Brady Hawk talks about this all the time. He talked about this on Saturday, and Bam has really stepped up. He said it would be a Bam game. Bam was great until whatever happened in the fourth quarter when he just was not involved. This is going to be another Bam game. It doesn't matter if it's Vooch or Drummond. He has a huge athletic advantage. Get him that ball 15 feet away. Let him face up. Let him attack off the dribble. Let him shoot that mid-range jump shot. Let him create off of others cutting and screening and doing things like that. But this should be a huge Bam game. He had a 26% usage rate on Saturday. That's great. Continue to have that high percentage. Run things through Bam and let him dominate as he has been over the last few weeks. And my fifth and final one, they did a pretty good job on Levine. Whether he was engaged completely or not, who knows, because of all the trade rumors. But DeMar was a problem. I think just talking about both of those guys, because they can be a problem. Even if Levine wasn't good on Saturday, doesn't mean he's not going to be great on Monday night. Josh Richardson, Jaime Jaquez, Haywood Highsmith, Caleb Martin, obviously Jimmy and Bam. But those 4 defenders that are role players, they have to have good games. It was one of the first times you saw Jaime really not engage defensively because of foul trouble. All 4 of them really struggled at different points defensively. We need to have better defensive games from them. Stopping those 2 stars, but also Alex Caruso, Kobe White, they went off for 25 points, just not acceptable. They don't have a lot of guys that can score the ball, so if you can limit the role players and or limit the stars, they just are going to have a hard time even getting to 100 points. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully he can get back on the winning track tonight. Check out the 5 keys and check out 5 Reasons Sports for all your Heat content.